So this Halloween, I've been doing a Friday the 13th marathon. I've been streaming a lot of Friday the 13th the game on the PlayStation 4, which, by the way, for those of you that own a PS4 and have a PlayStation Plus membership, it is currently free this month, so don't forget to install it. Highly recommend. Very fun game. And sometime next week, I will upload a Joey's Fun Play of me playing the NES Friday the 13th game. And I know this isn't very good, but I actually appreciate it for what it is, even though it's not very good. But during my childhood, I used to play this at my daycare all the time. And I know, you can laugh. My daycare had this. But yeah, I like it for what it is. You know, it's definitely different. So, but in this video, we're going to be talking about all the Friday the 13th movies, which I haven't noted. I haven't seen these, well, the majority of them. I haven't seen them in several years. So it was nice to kind of refresh my memory with all these movies. And even though none of them are even close to masterpiece, most of them are a mess. Many people may consider these below average movies, especially the critics. They used to bash all these movies. But us fans, we definitely enjoyed them. And, you know, it's definitely a franchise where as long as you turn off your brain and accept them for what they are, it's loads of fun. Like, I had a good time. To me, this was a treat watching these movies. So in this video, I am going to talk about all 12 Friday the 13th movies. So, you know, part 1 all the way to Jason X. Then I'll talk about Freddy vs. Jason and the 2009. And I also want to note that there will be some spoilers. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, then don't watch this video. But I feel like the majority pretty much know, you know, we all know about Friday the 13th. So there's really nothing to spoil, I feel. So, but as requested, I will give you a final verdict on each of these movies. And I will give you a list of my least favorite to my top favorite out of all these movies. You know, because you guys really wanted me to do that. And I think that's pretty much it. And I'm not going to go too in depth on the review for each of these since there's a lot of movies to talk about. I don't want this review to be like hours long. So I'm going to try to keep it pretty short. And I just hope you guys, you know, enjoy this review and let me know, you know, what you'd like me to review next. So yeah, guys, without further ado, let's get started. Friday the 13th, the 1980, where it all started. So the movie starts off by telling the story of a kid named Jason Voorhees that drowned in the lake, and then a bunch of murders happened afterwards, which caused the camp to close down for many years, but then reopens. And one thing I do like about this movie is all these goofy, crazy counselors that literally don't have a care in the world. Like that, like, what the fuck, he could have killed that dumb bitch. And I like how he smirks about it too, like, yeah, I don't care. And you know, like, that's what's really funny. Like, imagine these group of counselors dealing with kids. It's like, yeah, I don't know about that. I also really enjoy the scenery of this movie and how it builds up an ominous mood. You can just sense that bad things are going to happen. And, well, it wouldn't be Friday the 13th without our kill scenes, right? And we do get some good ones, like when Kevin Bacon gets an arrow through the neck. It's like, dang, that's a pretty good one. And there was some other good ones as well. But one thing that annoys me, and I just recently found out about this, that a lot of the gory scenes were actually cut out due to the MPAA forcing them to cut it out, or they would have had an X rating. So it's like, man, fuck you, MPAA. Go fuck yourself. But still, the overall scenes were pretty good. They were satisfying enough. But the main problem with this movie is all the boring fillers. Like, I'm not even kidding. At least 85% of this movie is pretty boring that we literally don't care about. It just shows these counselors doing things that are just, you know, lame-o, and we don't really care. Like, there was this one scene, it actually cracks me up just thinking about it. But it showed this one scene with this chick making coffee. But what was ironic about it, it literally filmed her doing the entire process of making coffee. It's like, really? Oh my Lord. That kills me. Now I understand sometimes you have to have calm moments like that in order to build up the suspense, but not 85% of the movie. But at least on a good note, I could say the last 15-20 minutes of this movie, it does pick up and it's pretty good for the most part. Now, the one thing that really disappointed me with this movie, and, well, spoiler by the way, is finding out that Jason wasn't the one causing all these murders. It was actually his mother, Mrs. Voorhees, which was really a complete shock because we were all expecting Jason, of course. But don't get me wrong, she was pretty good, which was played by Betsy Palmer. She actually did an outstanding job with a split personality. But she doesn't reveal herself until basically the very end of the movie when it's down to one counselor. And even though she does have a motive, which is good, the movie makes sense, you know, it's just funny how, like, these counselors had nothing to do with Jason's death, but, you know, I guess when you lose your son, you go crazy and you just kill whoever.
What you did to him?
But one thing I also thought was really funny is, like, so she starts off being really nice and then she reveals that she's Jason's mother, and then the counselor, which I believe her name was Alice, realized, oh, you know, shit, you're the one that killed all these people. And then she's like, yeah, and you're next. And I like how, like, even after all those elaborate kills that she did, she, like, bitch slaps the shit out of her. I'm like, oh, man, that is funny. But towards the very end, the counselor ends up decapitating her. And, yeah, that's it. She's dead as dead. Now, the one thing about this movie, it has, I think, one of the creepiest endings ever. It's something that you will never forget. Towards the very end, when Alice is just sitting in the boat, and you think, well, the movie's pretty much over. She killed Mrs. Voorhees, so that's it, right? And then oh shit. I couldn't tell you how terrified I was first time seeing this. I mean, that's some scary stuff, especially as a kid. But you know what that means. We're like, okay, obviously that's Jason Voorhees, and we're definitely going to have a sequel. It's a shame that we didn't get Jason in this movie, but we know greatness is on its way. Alright guys, so I'm going to go ahead and give you my final verdict. And sorry that this review is very short. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm trying to keep these reviews short for each movie since I'm going to be talking about all 12 in this video. So anyways, for those of you new, I'll show you what my scale looks like. So 1 basically means worst movie ever, and a 10 is a masterpiece. So for me, I'm giving this movie a 5 out of 10, which is average, and hear me out, because I honestly think this movie should probably be a 6, maybe even a 7. But this is why I'm giving it a 5, right in the middle. So I am giving it average. To me, for me, a 5 up means it does have rewatch value. And I'm not just saying that because I'm being, biased, because I love the whole Friday the 13th franchise and I love Jason Voorhees, even though he wasn't in this one. But the positives is it had a couple of good actors in here. I really do like Kevin Bacon. I think he's pretty good. And Betsy Palmer, she actually did an outstanding job as Mrs. Voorhees, even though we didn't really see her until the last 15-20 minutes of this movie. So it's kind of like, But, as far as the negatives go, at least 80 to 85% of this movie was just boring fillers. Like, majority of this movie's pretty lame-o. I hate to say that. Very, very slow pace. So in order to really get the good stuff, you really have to wait it out. And that's the shame thing. Now, if it wasn't for the MPAA forcing them to cut out a lot of the gruesome scenes to prevent that X rating, then this probably would have easily been a 7, maybe even an 8 easily, because a lot of the kill scenes, they were pretty creative, especially for 1980, my opinion. So, but yeah, that's why I'm giving it a 5, right at the middle. So, hope you enjoyed this review, and stay tuned because we're about to talk about part 2.